Hi everyone, Misha the Word Witch. Welcome back to my channel. I'm really excited about today's video because this has been years and years and years, actually probably more like decades in the making at this point. But for a little bit of backstory, when I was about oh, dropping books, that's not good. I'm so sorry I dropped you. Anyway, when I was about 12, 13 years old, I came across this book in my library back home in PA. It's called Circle of Three, So Mote It Be, and it's by Isabel Bird. And this was the first book in the series. And my library only had this book. And I really enjoyed it. To this day, I actually just reread it not too long ago, and I still love it as much as I did the first time I read it. So it took years, and I do mean years and years and years, to find the rest of the books in this series. Now, most of these I found just like randomly in this little bookshop in the Poconos that had like brand new books but also some used books. So most of these came from that little bookshop in the Poconos. But then some of them I had to get through thrift books because this series is out of print. Although when I was looking on Amazon, I did see that you can now get it on Kindle. I'm not gonna do that though. But what I'm so excited about is, okay, you think about it. I was about 12, 13 when I read this first book. I'm 33 now, so that means it's been like 20, 21 years since I first picked this book up and started this series. I can finally say that I don't know if I'm going to be able to get them all in. I might have to hold them up in chunks. I'll have to figure this out. But I am excited to say that I now have officially completed the series. I finally, it took me a while to find it, and it was a pain in the butt to find, but I finally was able to find the last book I needed to complete the series, which was book 10, Making the Saint. I'm I'm so excited. I can't even begin to describe how much the series means to me. Um, it's so nostalgic for me, and it's just I'm I'm kind of losing my mind. I'm just so excited I finally got it. But I just want to show you each book. Talk a little bit of, talk just a little bit about each of them. If you are interested in reading these, you can find them on Kindle, which is really cool. But the first book, the main character, Kate, she has to write a report on witchcraft and accidentally ends up taking out a book on witchcraft, decides to do a spell. The spell ends up working really well, too well, and then she does another spell and that works well too, but then things start going bad, and she asks to like see the card of who checked out the book before her, and Annie was the one who checked out the book, and then eventually they find out that Cooper also took out the book. So together the three of them try to undo what Kate did, and they end up starting their journey of Wicca. And it's wonderful. I love it. And then in the second book, I just reread this. I don't want to spoil too much for you guys, just in case you decide to read it yourself. But it's also very focused on Kate. Even though each book, they will go between the three characters of who's the main character, I definitely feel like, whether it was intentional or not, the author meant for Kate to be the main character. But obviously you can't just focus on one character. But the I don't want to spoil too much for you. I don't want to spoil too much. And then the third book is Second Sight. And this one has Cooper as the main focus. That's what I'll do. I'll just tell you who's the main focus of each. I won't spoil anything past the first book. And then what the card said. Annie is the main focus of this book. In the Dreaming, which admittedly is my least favorite of the series. I mean, the cover's beautiful, but I don't know. This has always been my least favorite of them. It does a really good job of focusing on Kate, Annie, and Cooper pretty equally. They each, go on their own adventure within this story. And then Ring of Light, it's a pretty good focus on Kate, but also a pretty good focus on Cooper, because the events of this book have changed Cooper's perception of Wicca and being part of the group, and that's all I'm going to tell you. So it's a decent focus between the two. And then Blue Moon, which is the one I just started rereading, is mainly focused on Annie. The Five Paths is mainly focused on Cooper. And then Through the Veil is pretty heavily, I feel like this one's focused most on Annie, but it does focus pretty well on all three of them. I love this cover. It's so witchy and so cool. Obviously I haven't read Making the Saint yet, but just from the description of what I read, it seems like this is mainly focused on Kate. Kate's also the one on the cover, so The House of Winter is primarily focused on Annie. Written in the Stars, if I remember correctly, and it's been a while since I've read some of these, is particularly geared toward Cooper. And It Harms None. I can't remember who this. I feel like it's Annie because Annie's the one on the cover, but I could be wrong. Like I said, it's been a while since I've read these. And then there's the challenge box. This one, I think primarily focuses on Kate. And then the last book, it focuses on all three of them because they've reached the end of their journey. It's a really good, I'd say, YA series about Wicca and witchcraft. And overall, it's just a series I am so nostalgic about, and I absolutely love. Cooper's my favorite character, even though if I had to say what character I most like, it's probably Annie, because Annie's very bookish, and that's me. But Cooper's the wild child rebel, and then Kate's just kind of the normal one, I guess. I hate to say it, but it's kind of true. But yeah, I can't put enough emphasis on how happy I am to finally, after 20 some years, have all the books in this series. I never thought I'd be able to, because there have been times that I've looked online on thrift books or or go to secondhand stores, and it's they're so hard to find. And I don't even, let me check to see when the last book came out. The last book came out in 2002. Wow, so these must have been coming out pretty frequently, because when did 2001? Okay, so it seems like these came out in pretty quick succession. I guess they are. They're not super thick reads. You could probably get through, if you had a whole day to do nothing, you could probably get through this whole series in a day. Yeah, because it's saying this one came out in 2001. But then book 9 came out in 2001? Okay. That's crazy that these came out. Okay, this one says 2002. 2002, 2002, 2001. So the last 4 books came out in 2002, but the first 11 books came out in 2001. Either these were all pre-written or the author was able to bang them out pretty quickly. Don't know, but again, I'm so excited to finally have the completed Circle of Three series. I'm gonna have to find a way to display them on my bookshelf, but yeah, I love this series so much, and rereading it just reminded me how much I love it. Just all the magic, you know, the friendship, the real life issues that, you know, someone might go through. It's not just about, you know, boys and issues with parents. You know, there's some like real issues that happen in these books, and I don't know, I love them. So if you want, like I said, they're on Kindle, and I would highly suggest, you know, I think they're like $4.99 on Kindle, which is how much the paperbacks actually originally were. I have paid, you know, either $4.99 or less for these. Admittedly, off of thrift books, I did pay about almost $8 for this one, but because it's the last book and I don't know how many of these are still floating around, I was like, you know what, I will pay almost twice the price for what this originally was, because I want it and I need it for my collection. But yeah, so just, you know, if you want a fun, interesting, could, you know, possibly get through the entire series in a day series, I cannot recommend Circle of Three enough, and I'm just so excited to finally have, I'm going to try to hold all these. This is not going to be a maybe this could be the thumbnail photo. Actually, the thumbnail photo should probably just be the books, but I don't think this is going to work as well as I want it to. Maybe. Oh no, we dropped one. Just so excited to have all of these. I mean, look at them. And you know, normally it would bother me with a series that some of them are hardcover and some of them are softcover, but since all the books are pretty much the same size, and I know how hard it is to get my hands on the physical, how hard it's been to get my hands on the physical copies of the series, I'm gonna let it slide. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. This is probably just me self-indulging myself. I honestly don't know anyone else that's read this series, so I can't imagine how many people will be as excited about this as I am, or even have an interest. But if you did like the video, please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to see more content from me. And that's all. I hope you all have a great day. Bye!